Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I'm going to talk about my final reactions to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the PC game by the name of Max Payne 3. Just so you guys know, this game was made by Rockstar. It's actually the first time that the Finnish game developer by the name of Remedy Entertainment did not make this one. They made the first two Max Paynes, but Rockstar was responsible for Max Payne 3. It was also not written by the lead series creator Sam Lake, who wrote the other two, but it was actually written by a guy by the name of Dan Houser, who was known for writing storylines such as Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto 4, and Rockstar's Xbox original game by the name of Bully. And just so you guys know, I beat the game. I fully played through all 14 chapters on the easiest difficulty. That's what I normally do with games. I don't know if there's any cheats, but I did not play with any cheats for Rockstar's Max Payne 3. I don't know if there is, but I didn't play with any. I usually start on the easiest difficulty because then it gives me the nice little rundown of the game. And then after I beat on the easiest difficulty, then I go for normal and then hard. So I start off on easy and then normal, hard. I also played through the arcade mode to kind of see what that was like. And that arcade mode is very good because it lets the game have a nice, a very good replay value. That way the game doesn't get old or repetitive in any way. So anyways, let's get to my final reactions of the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the PC game by the name of Max Payne 3, developed by Rockstar, like I said. So let's talk about the storyline, first of all, for Max Payne 3. The storyline, I have to say, is phenomenal. It's probably my favorite storyline that Rockstar's done. You know, Rockstar did Red Dead Revolver, which has a really good story, you know, an original Xbox game. Red Dead Revolver had a really good storyline. I thought Grand Theft Auto 4 storyline was okay, nothing really too amazing. San Andreas, like I said in my first impression video for Max Payne 3, that storyline is great, but I would have to say also the Max Payne 3 storyline is definitely on par with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and the reason I say that is because it's just awesome. It's pretty much, you're seeing the world through Max Payne. He's pretty much an ex-cop, he's drunk, he's worn out, he's sick of everything in the world, and it's pretty much an action movie, and you're playing through as Max Payne, and he narrates over all 14 chapters. He narrates over the entire game, and I forget the voice actor's name, but the voice actor who plays Max Payne is a phenomenal voice actor. He definitely knows how to give this character emotion and depth, and you really feel for him. You really feel like, I don't want to say too much, but let's just say that if you think about it, Max Payne is, if you know how the storyline goes, Max Payne is definitely an extremely depressing game. He loses pretty much everyone he knows and everyone he loves, and things are just not going well at all for Max Payne. Pretty much the basic storyline is he's an ex-cop, and he's hired as a bodyguard to protect a certain girl, this certain family. I believe her name's Fabiano. He has to protect Fabiano's family, and that's pretty much the plot of the game. But the plot gets a lot more complex. And the concept of Max Payne 3 is just phenomenal. So overall, I really loved the storyline of Max Payne 3. Excuse me a second. Next up, let's talk about the graphics. Like I said, when I made my first impressions video, I was only 3 chapters in to the game Max Payne 3. And now that I've played all 14 chapters, I have to say that the graphics are amazing. Now that I've seen the game for its full worth and everything, the graphics are just awesome. The characters are so lifelike. His facial expressions are so real. His eyes move. His cheeks move. You know, Max Payne, his character never really smiles because it's just not who he is, you know. But it's crazy how realistic the graphics look and how I love it. And last but not least, let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. So the gameplay is definitely the best thing about Max Payne 3. And the reason I say that is because let's first of all talk about the realistic environments and the levels of the game titled Max Payne 3. The levels are just so realistic. Whenever let's say you're hiding behind like a cubicle in an office or something, when the AI the people you're fighting, you know, when they shoot papers above you and laptops and computers, the computers will actually tumble on top of you. They don't hurt you, of course, but the laptops will tumble right next to you. The folded up papers will actually fling up into the air, and so it creates a very, very, very realistic environment, and it makes the game just feel so much lively and just so much more realistic, and that was one of the reasons I loved it. Also, this game, just so you guys know, even on the easiest difficulty, is still an extremely difficult game. The AI in this game actually act realistic. They don't act stupid. I've played some games where the AI on the easiest difficulty are just kind of whatever. They'll be standing right next to you and they won't shoot. Well, in this game, even on the easiest difficulty, the AI act like real people. They'll run up to you and shoot you right in the head. They're not afraid to kill you right next to you. I mean, there are lots of times where they'll stand far away, but a lot of times they'll run up to you just shooting, just ready to be a suicide gunner pretty much. So you really got to use a lot of strategy and a lot of strategic movements in this game. You can't just... There are times like when you play through the mode called New York Minute where you try to do every level in a minute time. There are times like I said in the arcade mode where you have to do the level in a minute, and for every person you kill, you get an extra 5 seconds. If you shoot him in the head, you get an extra 6 seconds. So there's times like that where you have to kill him in a fast manner, but that's just on the arcade mode. But as for the gameplay itself, you're mainly most of the time you'll be hiding behind. Besides when you're doing the whole bullet time shooting thing, besides when you're doing the whole slow motion matrix thing, besides that, you'll most of the time be hiding behind walls, ducking behind cover, popping out whenever the enemies are reloading and shooting them in the head, and things like that. I will say the bullet time definitely does come in handy. It's so cool when you're hiding behind a wall, and let's say that you've killed most of the guys around, and there's roughly about 2, 3, maybe 4 guys left, and you pop out and do your bullet time shooting in slow motion, and shoot all 3 or 4 guys in the head. It's a really cool mechanism that they've had, and I know they've had it in all the Max Payne games, but they really defined it in this one. I haven't played the previous Max Payne 1 or Max Payne 2 that Remedy Entertainment put out, but Rockstar, I really felt like, has made an extremely solid game that everybody can enjoy. Yes, no, it's not a free world game. It is a very linear game, and by linear I mean like the level you know exactly where to go. You're never wondering where to go. I think I may have wandered around on one level not knowing where to go, but it's a very linear concept where every level is mapped out in an organized manner where you know exactly where to go, and there's always enemies around. You're always having to duck for cover. You're always having to shooting. And all in all, it's an extremely fast-paced action shooter game. And the best thing about, one of the great things about it is that it's a story-driven one. If the story in Max Payne 3 was not as good as it is, it probably wouldn't be as good. But the story in the game Max Payne 3 is so well done. It's so well constructed and organized that the gameplay also benefits from the story of Max Payne 3. Game critics have pretty much given this game a lot of recognition critically by game critics and game reviewers and people like that. They've liked this game a lot. Let's check some of the local sites. G4 gives it a 5 out of 5. IGN gives it a 9 out of 10. Game Informer gives it a 9.25 out of 10. GameSpot, a 9 out of 10. GameSpy, a 4.5 out of 5. The Guardian, a 5 out of 5. Like I said, there's only a few sites that give it like 7s or 8s, you know, stuff like that. Some quotes people say about it. Let's see. They say, Max Payne 3 might solve, or here's what someone says about 7 out of 10. Max Payne 3 might solve the problem of how you manage to reload when carrying more than one gun, but detailing alone can't change the fact that this is a surprisingly conservative game from Rockstar. They also say, let's see. Some of the people complain about the difficulty. You know, if a game's difficult, it's certainly not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing if the game's difficult because it makes it more of a challenge. I love when games are a challenge. If a game's too easy, it actually takes away from the experience a little bit because I want to challenge a game. I don't want a game so difficult where I can't play it, but I do want somewhat of a challenge. Let's see. Destructoid says, packed with fast action, brutal violence, and striking cinematic style, all of the stops have been pulled out to make this the most exciting entry in the series to date. So overall, everything about Max Payne 3 is just downright amazing. The graphics, the voice acting, the gameplay mechanics, the storyline is just amazing. And I'm really curious to see, I know later on next year, and I believe in April of 2013, the new Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming out. And I'm wondering, since I know it's gonna be a free world game, of course, like always. But I'm wondering if some of the missions in Max Payne 3, I'm wondering if there's going to be similarities between some of the missions, where the missions might be very linear and stuff. I would like that. I would think it would be very cool if Grand Theft Auto 5, with their missions at least, if they took sort of the Max Payne 3 approach with their missions in Grand Theft Auto 5, I think it would add to the storyline. Let me know in the comment board what you guys think about that. Do you think that the environments, like, if you've played Max Payne 3, let me know. If you haven't, I guess just go play it and then tell me. But anyways, I'm wondering if the environments in Grand Theft Auto 5, like like I said, they're shooting papers and you shoot the side of a wall and it destroys, that sort of thing. Because Grand Theft Auto 4 was realistic in a way, and when you hit a pole, you'd fill out the windshield and stuff. But Max Payne 3 is even more realistic. So I'm wondering, since Max Payne 3 is probably, if not the most realistic game I've ever played in all of my days of gaming, I'm wondering if Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be just as realistic. Like, if I'm ducking behind something, and then things will fall on top of me, that whole thing, sides of the building getting destroyed. I'm wondering if they're going in that direction with Grand Theft Auto 5. I've watched both trailers. There's 2 trailers out for Grand Theft Auto 5, and it looks great. So anyways, back to Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 is definitely a game that everyone should play. If you're not into linear games, you may not like Max Payne 3 because it's a very linear game, though it's very, very, very high-paced action thriller kind of game. You're always going to be doing something. There's never a moment where you can, there's a few moments you kind of chill and have, but there's always the moments where you're just going to be constantly shooting things and constantly just a high-paced, story-driven action shooter game. Third person, of course. Anyways, that's my final reactions to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the PC game by the name of Max Payne 3, developed by Rockstar. I'm really curious to see if they'll make a Max Payne 4, because it's been 7 or 8 years since they had made a Max Payne game, and Max Payne 3 was kind of, the return of the franchise. So I'm wondering, will we see a Max Payne 4? I sure would want to, and I can't wait to see how they would even make a Max Payne 4 even better than its predecessor of Max Payne 3. So the first game I received from GameFly was Resident Evil 6, and I ended up giving that game a solid 9 out of 10 due to the other campaigns not even being close to the gameplay, how fun Leon's campaign was. Well, I have to say, I'm going to give Max Payne 3 a solid 10 out of 10, a perfect 5-star rating, and the reason that is because everything about the game is just so fun and just so uniquely awesome. And the only really problem I had while playing it was that there were several gameplay glitches, like my character would become stuck to a wall, and I had to roll away from it just to get off the wall, and then the game would freeze up and crash on at least a few cutscenes. Sometimes the audio would be missing, sometimes a floor would be missing and stuff like that. There's a lot of glitches in there that they've patched a few of them, so make sure before you start playing Max Payne 3, that way you won't have to go what I had to go through. Also, the game is 2 discs, get that, 2 discs, so you have to switch the disc, and sometimes there's a problem when switching disc, that the levels on the second disc will be messed up. So make sure you update the game online before you actually start playing it. Otherwise, you'll have several problems like I did. I updated the game afterwards and only had a few. They still are, I'm sure, going to make a few more patches like the wall one I was telling you about, because I still got stuck to a wall a few times. And I'm sure in the next month or two, maybe sooner, maybe later, they'll be making patches to fix the remaining glitches in the game titled Max Payne 3. Anyways, a 5-star, perfect rating. Rockstar has really created something that is really unique and just an awesome game. I love Max Payne 3. Anyways, thanks for watching. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe to my page below, and I will see you guys later with another review by Centipede Geek.